We won a Grammy in 1982 for Best New Artist. That was like 30 years ago. Can't wait to see what happens next.
I really liked Men at Work.
I loved Men at Work.
Men at Work were everywhere.
It was this ecstatic energy running through their songs.
Conflict began to happen in the band.
Our band was just a band that was never destined to go the distance.
He's going to tell us why, besides musical differences, these guys left the band, right?
No.
Colin James Hay is now on his own, nurturing a solo career.
It's the Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM. The name Colin Hay is synonymous with Men at Work, but that was a long time ago. And now, when you think of Colin Hay, you think of a solo artist who has had an unbelievable run, a great string of records, including a new one, Fierce Mercy, available March 3rd. Colin Hay also has a brand new documentary that you can stream at places like Amazon, and I hope that you do. It looks to be a good one. You just heard a little bit of audio from the trailer or the preview for that. And it gives me great pleasure to tell you that Colin Hay is on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline at this moment. Colin Hay.
Tony.
How are you, sir?
Well, I'm pretty good considering it's just 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not used to it, whereas you are used to the early mornings.
Colin, I woke up at 4 a.m. because my 2-year-old needed some water, and I looked out.
I see.
I looked outside, and there was snow on the ground, and we're in the Midwest, but we've been spoiled this winter. So when there's snow on the ground, people lose their minds still. It's ridiculous.
So there's a nice little bit of snow out there?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's kind of like that light, the light snow that you can brush away. So nothing major, but it's kind of, dare I say, it's a little pretty. It covers up the gross grass, so that's not bad. Could be worse. Okay, so I was just playing the trailer for Waiting for My Real Life, and I have it in my queue to watch on Amazon. And I want to talk about that. Obviously, that's why you're here, to promote the documentary. But you are notorious for your live shows. Obviously, the music is tremendous, and we'll get to that. But you have such a great sense of humor, and you're such a great storyteller. So was it your idea to film the majority of that tour a couple years ago for the purpose of a documentary, or did someone approach you about it?
No, I was approached. I was approached about it by the two directors. I was about to start touring, so it was somewhat fortuitous. I was about to start. I was playing in the States. I was playing in Scotland. I was playing in Australia. I mean, it had been on my mind doing some filming, so it was synchronistic that they called it at that time.
Did it have to? Was it strange when you're getting used to a camera crew being at all of these shows, or did you just not even notice it and you went about your business?
No, it's a thing. It's a thing you have to. Sometimes you just have to take a shot, and dive in the deep end, so to speak, because I didn't really know these guys, and so it was really just going, okay, this feels okay, and just flying by the seat of your pants a little. So yeah, it was somewhat awkward at times, but
sure.
You get used to it after a while.
It's certainly, and again, I haven't seen it, but I will see it soon. Waiting for My Real Life. I'll probably watch it this afternoon. The trailer it's very honest, so I wonder, because I haven't done anything like this, and certainly we all have experience in our lives that are not the easiest thing to talk about. So was it a matter of trusting the directors and then being able to just be honest? Because you are very honest at your shows, but there's another part of that people are going to see in the documentary. So obviously the directors and you must have a great relationship. Well,
it's a combination of things, because really you could really portray whatever it is that you want up there, if depending on what your point of view is, depending on what you want to say. So there is definitely a certain amount of trust involved. But I mean, I'm really at the point in my life really where it's not really that I feel that there's nothing to hide, but it's more the fact that it's some things that happen to me. In many ways, happen to everyone to varying degrees, and that's really what I wanted to put up there, was that there's a story here that really it's not particularly complicated a story, but there's a story there that really you could say is part of everyone's lives. I mean, everyone has great moments, and they think that that's going to be it for the rest of their lives. But then, real life happens, and you're often faced with challenges, and you have to deal with them, which are not particularly pretty, or they're challenging, for want of a better expression. So I think that's one of the reasons people come along to my shows, is that they perhaps get something that they don't get an awful lot if they go out to see performances.
Well, it's definitely a real experience when folks get to see you live, and I want to pivot to talk about Fierce Mercy for a moment. I read a line, and people can pre-order that. It will officially be available on March 3rd. Colin, the line said that Fierce Mercy may be a career-defining record. Now, you've been making records for a while, so what? And I don't know whose line that is, and I'm certainly excited to listen to Fierce Mercy, and we can play the whole thing on the station because we have creative control of what we do. So for folks that are going to experience it, what is so different about Fierce Mercy? What are they going to hear? What was the experience like for you?
Well, with records, you want to just try and make every record better than the last one, and you want to try and make it somewhat. You do want to make it somewhat defining. Otherwise, there's not really any. You might as well just stop at one,
Sure.
and say, okay, there it is. But you keep making them because you're constantly honing things and trying to say more with less. And but this particular record was interesting. I wrote most of it with a friend of mine who lives up the road. I just think that we had a particularly strong batch of songs and great musicians, and when I listen to it, it has, to me, just a really interesting dimension to it, which is, it's really, I always want to leave it to people to discover whether they like it or not. But when I listen back to it, I think it's just got some kind of special quality to it that I love. So I'm very happy with it.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. And like I said, with what we get to do at this radio station, playing an album like that in its entirety is not something that I'm afraid of, because nobody really tells us what to do. So it's kind of, Colin, I feel like this is a college radio station that I get paid to work at. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, if you play the whole thing, that would be incredible, because that's really why you still make them. It's a very singles-oriented world now, but
Right.
It's nice to. I still like making albums, and so if someone's going to play the whole record, well, that's a really love that idea and appreciate it.
Well, I think that's the way that they're, like you said, that's the way that they're meant to be heard, is listening to it in its entirety. And in 2017, the world we live in, you're right, is so singles, fast-paced, give me everything now, I don't have an attention span. But there is something to be said about listening to a record start to stop and then interpreting it for yourself. And then obviously you got to listen to it a couple more times to really figure it out for yourself. So I can't thank you enough for the time. I know that you had some experience with the Day Trotter folks. They're not that far from us in the Quad Cities. And again, the website, colinhayfilm.com, Waiting for My Life, is available everywhere. Please check it out, people listening. And the record, Fierce Mercy, is March 3rd, the release date on that. March 10th, you're going to be in Chicago, which is just a couple hours away, so may have to come up and see the live show. Sir, thank you so much. Please keep making music. It's very enjoyable on my end of the deal to be able to listen to it and then put it on the radio for folks to hear. So I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Be well, Colin. Bye.